Women of Reddit. What is a question a man should never ask, however tempting? Story 1. My mother taught us, in no uncertain terms, that no woman is pregnant until she tells you that she is pregnant. Oddly, this has been great advice. None of my siblings or I have ever run afoul by following her lesson on the topic. My mom once congratulated a secretary in a clinic she worked at on Saturdays because she had a big belly and was using a maternity shirt. The girl just sheepishly thanked and didn't say more. Conversation didn't continue because my mother had a patient waiting. She's an optometrist. Fast forward like a month or two and she asked around for the girl since she hadn't seen her in a while. And another secretary told her the girl died. Turns out she wasn't pregnant. She had stomach cancer, and that caused the bloating. Everyone else knew, but were too polite to tell my mom when she congratulated the girl. My mom cried about it. She felt horrible for that. And that's how I learned never to ask someone if they're pregnant. This year, while my wife was in a waiting area waiting for our kids, in front of a whole room, some lady walks up to my wife and loudly says, "Oh my God, congrats, when are you due?" My wife snapped back, 5 and 8 years ago, and the lady sheepishly left the lobby. Another mom piped in with, "I can't believe she asked you that. My wife doesn't even have a belly and isn't overweight. She's a part-time figure skater instructor or coach, and quite fit. I dunno. What the duck?" When I was a teenager, I worked in a department store. I worked in different departments to fill in, and ended up in the children's department one day. Now, at the time, I was 16 years old, and very much looked 16 years old, and maybe a size 10. Not super skinny, but not fat either. No belly to speak of, and an athletic build. An older couple came in looking for a gift for a relative who'd just had a baby. I spent 15 to 20 minutes helping them out. It was a completely normal transaction. I rang them up and, as they were about to leave, the woman looks at me and goes, "Honey, when are you due?" Her husband gave her this look of, "What the duck?" I kind of stammered, because I was caught so off guard, and just said, "I'm not pregnant. I'm only 16 years old." The woman turned the deepest shade of scarlet and ran off, not even apologizing. The whole encounter was so very bizarre. I'm still not entirely sure what was going through her head. I wonder if it's part of the "women always know when another woman is pregnant" thing. It's reinforced if she ever guessed right. Her husband will hear the "remember when I knew X was pregnant" story for the rest of his life. When I worked at Disney World, one of our responsibilities when working at a roller coaster was to keep pregnant women from boarding. So, whenever I saw a guest that I thought might be pregnant coming down the line, I started asking everyone, "Are you pregnant?" Men, elderly women, teenage boys. Those were the best. I mean everyone. That way, when I got to the woman whom I suspected might be pregnant, she would not have to feel singled out. If she wasn't pregnant, this was all just shtick to make guests laugh. If she was, well, then she had a heads up. If she was listening, that there was going to be a problem. Story 2. When you're in a bad mood. Are you on your period? Growing up as the only boy in a household full of girls, headed by my no-nonsense mom in the 70s, taught me that was not a joking matter. I was probably 10 or 11, and had just learned what periods were. My buddies and I were full of our newfound knowledge, and had decided that any time a girl in our class was upset or angry, she was on her period. We mostly kept this information to ourselves, and didn't dare share it with the girls, because they would tell the teachers, all of them women. My mom worked as a teller in our local bank, and had to work late one evening, a week in addition to every Friday. On her late evening one week, she came home a bit more frazzled than usual, and was barking orders while she got dinner ready. I was standing in the kitchen, and she told me to get something perfectly normal for her, a pan or some seasoning or something. And I mumbled, "Somebody got her period. They say you never hear the bullet with your name on it." I don't know about that, but I never saw, or heard, the hand that made contact with the back of my head. We don't use menstruation as an excuse in this house, and we don't make fun of it. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. You're cleaning the kitchen after dinner. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. And, yes, I do. Story 3. Are you pregnant? Because it's either, duck off, I'm just fat, or, of course, can't you see? As a kid, I remember asking a guy that. I didn't yet know that only women get pregnant. Turns out, he wasn't pregnant. I did the same. My mom and kindergarten teacher were both pregnant. So, I had recently learned what that was. My honorary grandpa had quite a belly on him. And, well, you know the rest. Lol. My ex-girlfriend and I were in the Disney shop buying an adorable Doug pillow. And the shopkeeper was like, "Oh, who's it for?" And it was easy to pick up the implication. I just immediately responded, "Me, it's for me." It was. My girlfriend was just fat. Now, I do have a daughter and she loves it. So, she was right eventually. I once had a woman at a bus stop look at my stomach and enthusiastically say, "Congratulations." I was genuinely confused and asked, "For what?" The woman started stammering awkwardly and walked away. A whole base hour later, I realized she thought I was pregnant. I dead base thought maybe she saw the plain white key card hanging on my lanyard, somehow figured out where I worked from that, and was congratulating me on landing my dream job. Story 4. Don't you think you're acting too much like your mom? Oh man, my wife told me to let her know if she ever started hating on the youth like her mom. One day she was complaining about ski-bitty toilet or something. And I said, "Wife, we had annoying orange. Dumb humor is dumb. Remind me to show you some of our generation's TF2 engineer brain rot. Kids will be kids. We were the same. It's different." That was at least clever. Screaming into a mic with the face of an orange was clever. More than whatever this toilet thing is. You're acting like your mother. Oh, she was mad for hours, but then agreed. Story 5. Is mine the biggest you have had? When are you due? I basically meant asking, are you pregnant? I have had 2 co-workers ask other co-workers when they are due. When the co-worker was not pregnant, apparently, I should have worded it differently. So, I am removing that portion of my comment. I was only about 7 at the time, so didn't fully understand. But I still remember walking through town with my parents. They met and got talking to a couple who I believe my mom knew. But my dad had not met before. My dad asked the lady, "When are you due?" And even at that young age, I could immediately tell that something had gone terribly wrong in the conversation. Story 6. You actually like thing. You didn't strike me as that kind of girl. For me, I got pissed. Because a guy kept saying essentially that whenever I mentioned an interest. And it's like, oh my god, why is it such a surprise to you? Sorry, did I not fit the image of the girl in your head? Feels accusatory. Just say, oh, didn't know you like hip-hop. That's cool. The next time. Some girlies just like things. Let us live. Note, don't ignore the important context of it being a constant response.